we've got an update on Jason Roth. He is the homeless Seattle homeowner who has a home in South Seattle that he is renting out to someone who has refused to pay him any rent. And as a result, Jason Roth has been living in his van with his dog. And we told you the last time that we had Jason on, we had him on a couple Sundays ago on Sundays with Subscribers to tell his insane story. The last time we had him on, we also talked about this particular tenant, how this isn't a sob story. This is a guy, if you look at his social media, he's spending a lot of time at the gym can't you be working? He's spending time on vacation, posting pictures on vacation, and he's having parties at this guy's house. He's throwing parties at Jason Roth's house, having people over after the club, he says, for a house that he hasn't paid rent for. And this has been going on for months and months and months. So I will tell you, having looked at this guy's social media, this is not some sob story of someone who is down on their luck. This is someone who's manipulating a system and living in this man's house for free, renting it out at one point, renting out a space of it on Airbnb. I mean, it's wild. And so Jason Roth was cautiously optimistic because a couple days ago, they had the eviction hearing that was scheduled. He was cautiously optimistic. I say that because he was told and kind of warned by his attorney, hey, these things often just get pushed back and pushed off. And unfortunately, that is the case. Jason went to his court hearing. His tenant, and I use that phrase loosely because I think when you've never paid rent, you are not a tenant, you are a squatter at that point, was also there. And as Jason feared, the case has been pushed back for months. So Jason agreed to come on and chat with us and give us an update. Jason, welcome back to Undivided.
Thanks for having me again.
Before we started recording, I was like, "Oh, is that your pup?" But you have your mom's dog with you, and you said it's your emotional support animal today.
I'm babysitting him today, and if I don't want him to run away, so I'm holding him during the interview.
But it also is a good emotional support for what we're about to discuss.
Oh, dogs have gotten me through this whole thing. That's absolutely the truth.
Yeah. So last time we talked, you had an eviction hearing that was scheduled, and you were fearful that it would just be delayed, and it seems like that is what has happened. So can you just give us the down low on what took place?
So I had a feeling it would get delayed, but I was also optimistic that they would read my declaration of all the different events that had transpired and how this wasn't so black and white as to, one issue or just another. There was a host of issues. I thought they would read that and sympathize. Unfortunately, they didn't read any of that. No one really got to talk about any facts of the case. It was a housing justice project lawyer was given right then and there, and there was an automatic continuance. So it was very much automated the way that the process happened. And I had no idea it was going to be March. I thought maybe it would get extended out a month or two. My lawyer thought we could maybe push for an earlier hearing because just the circumstances. I'd love to just move back into my house and have a house for winter. There's no opportunity to do that. There were plenty of other people going through this, the same sort of process we were, other cases, and, no one was granted any sort of special treatment, and we were likely to not get granted anything either. So March 12th, just stamped and moved on, and that's it.
It's just insane. Was your tenant present in court?
He was present. He was there. I'm glad he was there because just some sort of accountability. You know what I mean? Like this, when I first saw that it was going to be over Zoom and I initiated for it to be in person, my thought was people need to show up. When there's a dispute like this, you got to show up and have some accountability. And, if he gets his day in court, he gets to say whatever he wants to say, and I get to say whatever I want to say. So he did show up, but again, no facts of the case were heard, or there was no option to give any facts of the case. It's really strange.
So did you guys exchange any words or anything, looks, anything?
No, he wouldn't even look at me. I didn't really want to look at. Seeing him gives me anxiety and makes my blood boil. It's like I want to know what's going through this guy's head. Between you and me, I have no idea what he's thinking. What is his goal? I don't know. I would love to just have a conversation with him and just say, what's your plan here? What are you trying to accomplish. But no, it's just nothing like that.
It's weird. And Jesse Jones, the Cairo 7, showed up. Did that seem to bother your tenant at all? The possibility of there being a news coverage of the event?
I want to make it like really clear that like I am not exactly advocating for news to follow this around it like it is. It's sort of blowing up because people are relating to it and finding it disgusting, which I appreciate because I think it's disgusting and it should be aired out. But I didn't know they were going to show up in the capacity that they did. And it did make me feel good because this stuff needs to be shown. For the first 8 months of this whole thing, I just felt like alone, even though my family's been great and my friends have been really supportive. It just feels like my government's letting me down. It's a weird feeling. And so to have like the news there right up in the commissioner's face, just keeping him accountable. I mean, that felt the best. That was like, wow, someone's listening and maybe we could change something out of this.
Yeah, well, I hope so. But I mean, March, that's insane. And so, I mean, is anything going to change for you? You're living in your van with your dog through the winter months. I mean, do you have another plan?
I mean, I've got a really good kerosene heater I built in there. It's really cozy, actually. But I have friends, places I can stay. I mean, it's not like dire. I'm not on the streets, and I don't want to make anyone feel like I'm on the streets, so to speak. I'm also pretty resilient. I can handle whatever. But this sucks. Nonetheless, I would just prefer to be in my house with the bathroom I built, with the heated floor I put in myself. Like, that sounds nice over winter. A van doesn't sound that good. So it is what it is, I guess. And another thing that's pretty dismal about this isn't ending in March 12th. March 12th is the hearing date. It's best case scenario. March 12th happens. The sheriffs are backed up months, like we talked about. So March isn't the end. It's fall, probably.
Wow. And that'll be a year and a half without your house, approximately?
It's looking like it. It's hard to even think about it that way, but yeah, I mean, it's looking like that.
Yeah.
Now, the commissioner did say something briefly. And I think it's because the camera was in his face. He said there may be something coming out in December, which may be like a proposal that would speed these up, just because there is such a backlog. But there's no elaboration. I haven't heard that from anyone else. It was just a blip that came out of the commissioner's mouth. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think attention, shining a light on what's happening is unfortunately all that can be done in this scenario. Are you considering any sort of extreme measures like not paying the mortgage or anything like that, even though that hurts you?
No, I'm going to continue paying bills. It's fine. Everything's fine. I mean, the thing about the utilities, which is crazy to me, is I'm letting those slide right now. I'm not paying those, and the reason City of Seattle allegedly they don't put them to collections. They stay on the house. It could turn into a lien against the house, but it doesn't go to collections. It doesn't collect interest. And those are utilities I feel the most wronged by, because those came from Airbnb tenants. And I'm going to just push to not pay those and see if I can get those dealt with. I think the city should step in there. They're the ones who gave them the license. So, but as far as all the bills go, as far as keeping everything above, board, I'm going to keep everything paid, of course.
It's wild. Well,
So,
Jason, we appreciate you following up with us. I'm sorry that this happened. It's like worst case scenario, and we'll just keep tracking things, and please keep us updated, okay?
yeah, I will do. Thanks for following up.
It's just ridiculous stuff. I seriously feel so bad for him. And then, as he pointed out, March, sure, there's going to be another hearing on March 12th, but that's not going to be the end of it. Even if, judge says, yep, get out of there, eviction approved, and King County Sheriff's Office is months behind on carrying those out. So you just feel for the guy. And he, as he said as well, he's not the only one in court when he was there going through that. I mean, his story might be particularly egregious and have a lot of twists and turns and ups and downs, but there are a lot of small-time landlords being victimized by these tenant protections and by, the protections put in place during COVID that made it nearly impossible to evict people, created this huge backlog in the system. And, for these people like Shama Sawant, who she's prided herself on pushing, these tenant protections. And she says about big, greedy landlords. We're talking about, most of the people we're talking about who are impacted by those policies the most are small landlords who are going to move out of Seattle, that gets rid of options for affordable housing, which is what you say we need so much of. So it's all just really backward.